with Marla Abaka. How you doing, Marla?
I'm doing great today, Jeff. Thanks. How about you?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for asking.
Good.
So why don't we get started by sharing a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay. Well, I'm a business coach or a success coach, as I like to say. And I also write for Inc. magazine online. And I have right now one internet radio show, but beginning June 1st, I'm excited to say I'm going to a 5-day-a-week format with some partners. So I'm very excited about that. I help entrepreneurs who are stuck to achieve that entrepreneurial dream. And it's a passion. It's a fabulous way to live.
Excellent. So what made you get started in coaching?
Yeah, it's a fun story. I had that 22-year career in corporate, and entrepreneurs who have the corporate career usually say they just need it out. In my case, that wasn't it. My career was really fun because I worked for NBC television, and so it was a cool job. But 22 years, it was time to do something else. So I left there and I tried another job and just wasn't working for me. And so I opened a coffee house. Where that came from, I don't know. I walked into this coffee house one day and I loved it, and it was pretty new. And I said, I want to buy this place. And they said, okay. And that was that. I just did it. It was really odd. So that was how I became an entrepreneur and got a taste of that freedom and making my own decisions. And that was big and scary, but it was also cool. So I hired a business coach at that time because, yourself being an entrepreneur, especially when you're the solopreneur, making those decisions can be really scary and you can feel really alone in them. And that's how I felt. It was not a small coffee house. It was a $22,000 a month to keep the doors open kind of coffee house.
Wow.
So the decisions were, So when I hired my business coach, Steve, I just fell in love with what he did and what he did for me and the difference he made in my life, not just my business, but my life. And as coaching goes, some surprising things kind of evolve out of the process. And I ended up selling the coffee house to become a coach. And that was, I started studying while I still had the coffee house. So that was 13 years ago. And Steve mentored me through my studies and sent me some pro bono clients to practice on, poor guys. And I haven't looked back. It's just been an amazing career for me. And I've, added modalities and added certifications in education and of course, added the professional writing aspect and the professional podcasting aspect. And it's been incredible.
So what do you like most about being a coach?
I think the most rewarding part is when that client, I do most of my coaching either on Skype or by phone, but people come into my office from time to time. When a client enters into coaching and they're feeling like they just don't know where to go next or wondering if they've made a mistake, and in some cases even just have that much hope left. And to see the transformation that occurs in most, not all, but most of them is phenomenal. And the way the process works and the fact that I can facilitate that process is really exciting to me. And one of the modalities I use in my coaching targets emotional baggage, if you will, and the stuff that stops us, that head trash, those beliefs that we can get so caught up in that just stop us in our tracks. And when somebody can move out of that and shift their paradigm entirely and stretch that comfort zone like it's never been stretched before, so I just want to stand up and shout and cheer, and it's amazing. So I love it. And I love the people I get to meet doing interviews, as you now know, and my interviews for Inc. I get to talk to some of the most incredible entrepreneurial leaders, and it's very rewarding to learn from them and to share with them and to grow through that process as well.
Sure. No, I agree. I mean, I think, I'm a firm believer that entrepreneurs have such a passion and such an energy. I mean, and they obviously believe in themselves so much that they're willing to risk their lives, to take that step. And when they do hit that brick wall and it seems helpless, it's good to have people like you there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, everybody needs a coach. Everybody does.
I feel everybody needs a coach, but I'm biased.
No, I mean, seriously, because think about it. If you don't have, typically the entrepreneurs, they don't have a good tight support system, typically, even in their inner circle, right?
Right.
I mean, a lot of times their family members even think they're crazy.
Right.
What are you doing? Are you serious? You don't need that job, right? So it's just good to have somebody near and dear to them to be able to kind of offload some of that pressure and be there to pick up where they don't have the skill set, right?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that's most important to realize about coaching is when you work with someone like me who's been doing it for so long, and I've worked with just, oh my gosh, hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs, and so many of them have gone from barely making it to millions. And one of the benefits is that since I've been on that path for so long with so many clients beside me, I know a lot about what works and what doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And I mean, why reinvent the wheel, right, of mistakes? Don't make the same mistakes that others have made. I mean, you're going to make mistakes,
right.
Of course. But why make the ones that are so obvious to others and not to you because you haven't been in that sandbox yet? Coaches can help with that.
Right. And if you think, the old saying, if you think education's expensive, try investing in the mistakes that are out there, right? I mean, that's pretty costly too. So, that's why I say I think everybody needs people that, can be there to mentor and guide, in all aspects of life. So it's great to be able to come across people like you.
Thank you.
It's awesome. So I'm sure being a coach requires you to kind of stay on top of your game and stay abreast of all of the interesting, strategies that are out there and techniques. What are some of the things that you do to kind of help that?
Yeah. Well, again, fortunately, my job with Inc. and my podcasts really helped me to stay on top of what others are doing and what's working and what's not. I read a lot, Jeff. I read a lot of articles online. I learn a lot from my peers on Inc. And I get publicists send me books almost every day from authors, and some of them are really established authors who just have a new book out. And so I read that. And I incorporate into my practices a lot of mindfulness work. And I think that's 50% of the game. If I don't know if you've read Arianna Huffington's latest book, Thrive, but she has just stepped forward. Someone who's a multi-billionaire and so incredibly successful has stepped forward to talk about the importance of meditation and sleep and diet and putting on your oxygen mask first instead of putting everyone else first and making everyone else happy. And that those are the rules I live by too. I take good care of myself so that I can do my job and be there for the people I love.
Excellent. That's great advice. And so many people just spend so much time focused on their business because it's their livelihood. But you're right. I mean, you got to take care of yourself in order to take care of others.
Once you get past that 50 hours in the work week, studies show that it's like 80% non-productive.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're a startup, you're going to have, especially that first year. But after that, it's just crazy to invest more time than that in your business. Unless, it's cyclical. When you've got a new project going on or something like that, you're writing the book or releasing a new product, you are going to put in more time. But, you use a different standard for day by day.
Right. So as a coach, I'm sure you would help me prioritize what's important in my life, right?
I worked with a client just last week who said, I'm pulling my hair out. I'm staying up all night. And I said, okay, then this session, we're going to focus on what you're doing and why you're doing it. And we took 70% of her to-do list off her plate in 50 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. But, when you're in the rat race, you just can't see, that all of that stuff and how it comes together and how easily it can be to kind of offload that, with some strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't see the big picture, that bird's eye view when you're stuck in the nest.
Right. That's a good way to explain it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
I like that. So if I'm coming to you and I'm in that position, that same state where I'm overwhelmed and I just don't know what to do next, what do you recommend?
If you were to come to me.
Yeah, if I was going to come to you, and how could you help me right now?
Oh my goodness, there's so many ways. It's like a kid in a candy store. Well, we do the initial session where we assess, what the wins are and what the stumbling blocks are and what the mindset is. I'm a center brain coach, boy. We're going to focus on you as much as we're going to focus on your business.
Right.
And so we're really going to identify, I think, where most entrepreneurs in the micro business or the solo business platform get stuck is that they don't see a big picture. They don't have what I call a vision beyond the vision. Mm-hmm. And the entrepreneurs that are driven by a vision bigger than them, bigger than their company, those are the guys and gals you see out there just kicking butt.
Right.
And so I help people with that. I help people with their values as well, because I'll tell you what, even if you have 1 or 2 employees, if you don't instill a company culture, it's going to build itself and you're not going to like the results.
Exactly.
So we work on those kinds of things, but we also work on day-to-day, creating the plan, creating the steps to get there. I use the visual that, if your definition of success is up here, we're going to know what each step is and what's going to happen at each landing, and we're going to build it, and we're going to reverse engineer it. And so that's just kind of a basic overview.
Sure. No. And so if you were looking at structure, you mentioned meeting via Skype or maybe on the phone or whatever. How often do you typically meet with your clients?
Yeah, when we first begin coaching, Jeff, I like to work with my clients 3 times a month, more if necessary, but I think 3 times is usually sufficient unless they're struggling with really heavy emotional issues. And then I like to meet at least 4 times a month. And then what happens generally is we get to a point where we can start breaking that out a little further. But twice a month is the absolute minimum. And until they get to a point where they've broken into that 7-figure, mark and they've started they have their employees. Sometimes what happens in coaching is after a while, the client goes away for a few months and just drifts in and out of coaching. Mm-hmm. And that's okay too. But typically my clients stay with me long term. I mean, I've had clients for 6-7 years. And, they just see the benefits and they love it.
Excellent. So if you were sitting across from one of these potential clients, or maybe even yourself when you first went into business, and you were able to encapsulate all of these learnings that you developed and acquired over the years, what would you tell that person that was just getting started or maybe contemplating a leap right now that could, put them light years ahead of where you are right now?
I love that question, Jeff. And it really is about letting go of the control, because control is fear. And fear is absolutely paralyzing and will just stop you in your tracks. And when I think of how long I spent trying to make everything perfect and trying to put out a public, persona that was flawless and, be the professional coach and impress others with the image, and that fear of not having enough clients. As soon as you can let go of that and step into that abundant mindset that there's always enough out there no matter what, and that, they'll come to you if you believe in yourself, things really change. And that's not easy to do, especially when you're in trouble. And you know what, quite honestly, I still can get to that point where all of a sudden, 3 or 4 clients say, all right, man, this is awesome. I'm going to take a break now. And you're like, It's so natural to step into that fear place. But then I've learned now that you just don't go there. You just say, man, I just helped this many people feel confident enough to do it on their own for a while. And that is so rewarding. And just get into action.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's excellent advice. And you stated, the entrepreneurs that are out there and the ones that have that vision beyond the vision, where they really know, their why and their purpose for doing what they do. How important is that when you hit that stage where maybe fear could overcome you? And can you share a little bit about that from your perspective? Like if you don't have that vision, say you don't have it, and you're just the grind, the day-to-day grind, and you hit that brick wall, which many of us do, right?
Right.
How does that vision and that purpose play into that situation?
Okay, that's such a great question. And I always tell people that when you get stuck in yourself, to go out and help someone else.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what that vision beyond the vision is about giving back. It's about creating that social consciousness and sharing it with the people who are important to you and who you are important to. And so when you get out of your own self, you just let go of that stuff and help other people, man, it can just be a force of power. And when you have that vision beyond the vision and you know what that passion is and you know what a difference it can make to our global community or your local community, that's just like the fire in the belly. And it's the medicine. It really is. And you go out there and you think you're bad off, right? And you go out there and you see the children at the children's hospital that you want to support, or you see the youth in poverty, or whatever your passion is. Mine is female entrepreneurs in third world countries. And of course here, absolutely. But I'm doing everything I can do here. I want to extend this globally. And that just talking about it, Sarah needs to buy a cow so that she can sell more milk so that she can feed her family. And you loan her $10 through Kiva and she does it. I mean, that's amazing to me. So that will just put a fire in your belly, help you to gain a broader perspective. And it has a lot of functional aspects to it too, because you have to remember that cost-driven companies retain employees and customer. Oh my gosh, the statistics are staggering. And when you think about the cost of customer acquisition, those customers stay loyal. And when they hear about you through a cause, or they see your video talking about the cause, they're going to choose you over the guy who doesn't have a cause.
I agree 100%.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. And I promise that answer wasn't planted. That's exactly what she thought. So that's unbelievable. I'm right there in lockstep with you. I'm a firm believer that if you're not purpose driven, if you don't know what it is, you're missing out on the real gift that you have.
Yeah.
And it's great to have people like you again that's out there trying to stimulate that. Because once you find it, that fire, that burning desire that you have, that's going to permeate, right? I mean, that's going to just spread. The ripple's going to go forever and beyond, and it's just great. So, I mean, that's the sole purpose for me doing these things. And I really appreciate you sharing your perspective. So we're both a part of the Co-Opvertising network. That's why we're here. That's how we met. If you had the platform, you got the whole group here to speak to, and hopefully they go and take their networks and share this video as well. What are some of the things that you could possibly offer, or maybe, they can help you out with that would help, spread the momentum for you?
Thanks, Jeff. Well, right now I'm focusing on my new program, and that's eSchool, and it's for entrepreneurs who want more. They're just ready for more. They're sick of the struggle. They're sick of not knowing what direction to go, or questioning their judgment. And so, this is targeting the solopreneur, the solo practitioner, and, the entrepreneur who is going it alone and maybe shouldn't be. And so it's a little bit of a different audience for me. And so I'm making it affordable by making it a group environment where you're going to have that cohort. You're going to have the support from others who have different experiences than you do. And it's not a canned program. It is me live 3 times a month, helping you, and even offering the opportunity for one-to-one coaching time. And it's for businesses who need to make sure that website is up to speed, and that they have a YouTube and a social media presence, and that they're doing their marketing, and that they're delegating right, and they're taking care of themselves and things like that. So in 6 months' time, it's a 6-month program. And in 6 months' time, if you follow this program, you're going to definitely be making more money and acquiring more customers.
Excellent. So, if I'm one of those solopreneurs, what's the best way to learn more about this program?
Go to my website, marlatabaka.com, Tabaka, and eSchool is right there. And just go ahead and sign up or send me an inquiry, and we'll talk about more. I'm being selective about who I'm allowing into the program because I want to make sure that there's synergy all across the board, and I'm keeping it to a low number. And eventually my goal is to grow it to larger numbers, but for these first few go rounds, I want to keep it at a low number. So call and chat with me, and we'll talk about whether or not we're a good fit for each other.
Excellent. So I encourage everybody to check it out. I'm sure you'll be definitely satisfied, and you'll want to take advantage of it. And if you do, let me know how it is. I'd love to know. And as far as today, I appreciate the time and getting to know you today, Marla. It's been great.
Yeah.